Night of the Sheep. Away to the north of Ben Bulben and Cope's mountain lies a strong farmer, a Knight of the Sheep they would have called him in the Gaelic days. Proud of his descent from one of the most fighting clans of the Middle Ages, he is a man of force alike in his words and in his deeds. There is but one man that swears like him, and this man lives far away upon the mountain. Father in heaven, what have I done to deserve this, he says when he has lost his pipe. And no man but he who lives on the mountain can rival his language on a fair day over a bargain. He is passionate and abrupt in his movements, and when angry tosses his white beard around with his left hand. One day I was dining with him when the servant maid announced a certain Mr. O'Donnell. A sudden silence fell upon the old man, and upon his two daughters. At last the eldest daughter said somewhat severely to his father, "One day I was dining with him when the servant maid announced a certain Mr. O'Donnell." A sudden silence fell upon the eldest daughter, and somewhat severely said to her father, "Go out and ask him to come in and dine." The old man went out and came in looking greatly relieved. "He says he will not dine with us." "Go out," said the daughter, "and ask him in the back parlour and give him some whiskey." Her father, who had just finished his dinner, obeyed sullenly, and I heard the door of the back parlour, a little room where the daughters sat and sewed during the evening, shut behind the men. The daughter then turned to me and said, "Mr. O'Donnell is the tax gatherer, and the last year he raised our taxes, and my father was very angry. And when he came, brought him into the dairy, and sent the dairy woman away on a message, and then swore at him a great deal. 'I will teach you, sir,' O'Donnell replied, 'that the law can protect its officers.' But my father reminded him he had no witnesses. At last my father got tired, and sorry too, and said he would show him a short way home. When they were halfway to the main road, they came upon a man of my father's who was ploughing, and this somehow brought back the remembrance of the wrong. He sent the man away on a message, and began to swear at the tax gatherer again. When I heard of it, I was disgusted that he should make such a fuss over a miserable creature like O'Donnell. And when I heard a few weeks ago that O'Donnell's only son had died and left him heartbroken, I resolved to make my father be kind to him the next time he came. He then went out to see a neighbour, and I sauntered towards the back parlour. When I came to the door, I heard angry voices inside. The two men were evidently getting on to the tax again, for I could hear them bandying figures to and fro. I opened the door. At the sight of the face of the farmer, was reminded of his peaceful intentions, and asked me if I knew where the whiskey was. I had seen him put it into the cupboard, and was able therefore to get it out and find it. Looking at the thin, grief-struck face of the tax gatherer, he was rather older than my friend, and much more feeble and worn, and of a different type. He was not like him, a robust, successful man, but rather one of those whose feet find no resting place upon the earth. I recognized one of the children of Reverie, and said, "You are doubtless the stock of the old O'Donnells. I know well the hall of the river, where their treasure lies buried under the guard of a serpent with many heads." "Yes, sir," he replied. "I am the last of the line of princes." This is fucking nuts, sir. I cannot swear where there's people. Work. We then fell of talking of many commonplace things, and my friend did not once toss up his beard, but was very friendly. At last the gaunt old tax gatherer got up to go, and my friend said, "I hope we will have a glass together next year." No, was the answer. "I shall be dead next year." "I too have lost sons," said the other, in quite a gentle voice. "But your sons were not like my sons. And the two men parted, with an angry flush and bitter hearts. And had I not cast between them some common words or other, might not have parted, but have fallen rather into angry discussion of the value of their dead sons. If I had not the pity of all the children of reverie, I should have let them fight it out, and would now have many a wonderful oath to record. The Knight of the Sheep would have had their victory, for no soul that wears the garment of blood and clay can surpass him. He has but once beaten, and this is the tale of how it was. He and some farm hands were playing at cards in a small cabin that stood at the end of a big barn. A wicked woman had once lived in the cabin. Suddenly, one of the players threw down an ace and began to swear without any cause. His swearing was so dreadful that the others stood up, and my friend said, "All is not right here. There is a spirit in him." And they ran to the door that led to the barn to get away as quickly as possible. The wooden bolt would not move, so the Knight of the Sheep took a saw, which had stood against the wall near at hand, and sawed through the bolt, and at once the door flew open with a bang, as if someone had been hauled in it, and they fled through. All at once they began swearing.